today we've got a very special guest, and none other than Mr. RustyBrick, Barry Schwartz. Barry, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. How's your day been?
Going well. No problems yet. It's only 10 o'clock or so this morning, but all is good.
Cool. Oh wait, whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm in New York, about 45 minutes outside of New York City.
Cool. So what's the do you live close by to the office? Do you commute in or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm about probably about a 10-minute drive. You can see outside right now it's a little bit snowing a little bit, so it's a bit icy outside. Yesterday we had a bit of an ice storm here, so here they pretty much recover from snowstorms pretty quickly, but all is good. The parking lot is looking pretty good now. So.
Oh, awesome! I love you've got a little bit of greenery there as well. We're in central London and it's just grey, absolutely everywhere. So what?
Sure.
What have you always lived in New York, or did you move there for work, or?
No, I grew up here. I actually grew up approximately where I live, probably about 10 minutes down the road, 15 minutes down the road. I haven't moved. I'm pretty good at being consistent with what I do. So.
I love that. Yeah, you are very consistent in what you do. When did you get into the search industry? Because I'm pretty sure that from the moment I even knew what a search engine was, I was probably consuming your content from back in the day.
Yeah, so I first started writing about SEO and search probably back in 2003. Actually, probably, some articles probably in 2002 or so, but consistently writing at Search Engine Roundtable in 2003.
What prompted you to start a blog on this stuff? So I know you're quite big on one of the webmaster forums, and then it kind of spilled over onto your own site.
Yeah, I don't know. So back in the old days of SEO, everybody was part of these forums. There was different forums out there like Gym World and all these forums that you probably don't hear of them today. And there's still some around that have been around back in the day, like Webmaster World and so forth. And a lot of people were just talking about stuff, and those conversations have just went missing. People didn't have time to go through all these conversations that people were having online, and I thought it'd be good to kind of highlight the bigger, more important conversations that were happening in the SEO forums, and bring more awareness to it. So I would pick typically 4 to 5 or 6 interesting topics per day from the forums and highlight it on the Search Engine Roundtable by giving it, more prominence there. And that was the point was basically to highlight the most important topics that SEOs are talking about or SEMs are talking about in one place, without having SEOs and SEMs having to go through hundreds or thousands of forum posts on a daily basis to find that conversation.
So how long were you spending putting all that stuff together? Because when I write blog posts, I'm a terrible writer, so it takes me forever. That's why I really enjoy video, because I can just open my mouth and then content appears. How long are you spending, in the early days, how long were you spending making that stuff?
So people think it's a lot of time. It's really not so much time. I probably spend about, if I had to estimate, somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour or so every day on Search Engine Roundtable. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 30 to 90 minutes per day. So not a tremendous amount of work, because I'll get up really earlier, and I'll kind of do that before. Usually my blog posts on Search Engine Roundtable are between 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., depending on when I start. So it usually takes about an hour or so.
And so when are you, I'm really fascinated by people's routines and stuff like that. Are you doing that first thing in the morning? So is that like a very early rise, get into it type thing?
Yeah, so usually between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning, New York time.
Nice. And do you have any commitments before you actually get into work that you do? Are you one of these psychopaths that need to be in the gym at 5 in the morning? Or do you take kids on a school run? Or is it very much get the Cheerios in the bowl and off we go?
No, I get out before the kids are up. So I'm usually up around 5-ish, 5:30 or so.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go through the 100 or so emails or so everybody gets in the morning. I'll go through the RSS feeds and different feeds. I'll go through the forum posts and stuff like that. I'll also go to usually morning prayer services at my local synagogue. And then I'm usually at my desk by 7 a.m., which is about a 10-15 minute drive from my house. And then that's when I start writing and researching stuff to write about. And hopefully I'll finish writing on Search Engine Roundtable by 8 a.m. And then I'll do some writing on Search Engine Land between 8 and 9 a.m. And also I'll be communicating with the Search Engine Land team, Third Door Media team, telling them, communicating what I found, what should be written there, and so forth. So we have a lot of good writers at Search Engine Land that cover a lot of topics. One of my responsibilities there also is to help communicate what should be written there and help coordinate that, as well as write there. And then I go on from 9 a.m. forward, typically just working on RustyBrick, my web development and app development and software development company, which I could walk you around the office here a little bit later if you want.
That would be amazing, yeah.
But yeah, so that's typically the day job, but I can always stop doing that and write a little bit more if something breaks or something like that. But most of my day is not on search.
So I'm really fascinated to hear that. So with RustyBrick, you're mostly doing web development and app development. Then are you SEO consulting as well as part of that, or is it very much design and build?
We don't do any SEO consulting. It's just building stuff. It's hard for me to write a proposal to somebody who wants to rank well in Google or wherever and not be able to guarantee those results. When you build software, it's like, all right, these are the specs. Here's your deliverables. Here you go. When it comes to promising, I know SEOs don't necessarily promise results and so forth. They do kind of more audits and overall deliverables and more generic stuff. But I don't like charging for that stuff. I will sometimes do SEO consulting for SEOs to give them a bigger picture of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like they'll ask, I'll sit down in a room and they'll just ask me questions and I'll answer those questions. But in terms of providing SEO services like content development, link building, audits and stuff like that, I don't do that. I don't do that for a bunch of reasons. One of the other reasons is because I write about it and I don't want my writing to be somewhat biased based on what would serve my clients' interests and so forth. Because often I'll write about a topic, let's say a company that's big into content marketing or link building or guest posts or stuff like that, and I write something that Google said you shouldn't be doing guest blogging, that might upset a bunch of SEO companies, and then they'll go ahead and target me or something like that. And I know a lot of SEO companies that will go ahead and write the opposite, even though they know something might be against Google's guidelines or something that Google's not a fan of. And I don't have to worry about any of that when I'm writing. I just write whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about it might upset the client or it might hurt my firm because we don't do SEO.
That's fascinating. So I think a lot of people would very much put you in the SEO camp, people that perhaps don't know you as well. So am I right in thinking that the Search Engine Land and Roundtable work, that these are just passion projects just because you're interested in it?
Yeah, search and SEO is a passion project. It's not where my...
I think we got you paused there.
Yeah, hold on, sorry. Somebody's calling me. I apologize. So yeah, I'll just repeat what I said. I don't know if you crop it out or just let it go as it is. But basically, SEO...
We like it nice and natural. That's the whole point of it, so we can see... Because you're running a business, right? And I think a lot of the guys listening are really interested in you as the businessman. Because we see the front facing and the reporting you do and kind of keeping the industry afloat with their news, but it's just fascinating to see it actually like kind of behind the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, this is my cell phone, so usually my clients don't have access to my cell phone, so I don't even answer cell phone calls. I'm sure you get tons of spam phone calls. I'll just decline anything that is not in my favorites list, and if they leave a voicemail, I'll call them back maybe. But yeah, this is my office phone, which is a Cisco IP phone.
Can we see the setup there? I'm so nosy. Can I see, like, I love seeing like people's like what bookmarks you have in your browser and what tech you're using. Like, I really love that stuff.
Yeah. So I use a MacBook Pro. This is probably about a year old or so. I'll usually get a new MacBook Pro every 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. Just because I like the latest gadgets, as people know. This is a Cisco IP phone hooked up to our Asterisk-based open source PBX, which you have a lot of cool functionality for our business in there. This is just a Samsung HD monitor. hooked up via some type of docking solution because it's all USB-C. This is an LG monitor, which is a pretty high def monitor. Then I got a bunch of iPads with cameras, the Google Home hub, a bunch of backup drives, speakers, and my desk, as you can see here. In this corner, I have my guest desks of boxes.
Whoa.
Just gadgets that I have. iPhone boxes, the Spark drone. I mean, you name it, I probably have something like Google Glass. These are spectacles from, spectacles from the what's that company? Whatever.
Snapchat stuff.
Snapchat, yeah. Just a bunch of cool gadgets that I have and so forth. Up here is just some SEO swag, or you call it Google mugs.
Yeah.
That cuts through this hummingbird at me once. The Moz thing up here. Some old Yahoo stuff, even some old Ask Jeeves stuff. John Mueller gave me this Googlebot back in the day. And that's the tiara from winning the Search Personality Award of the Year.
Amazing.
And that's a picture of behind the scenes. Somebody took a picture of me and mailed it to me of accepting the award, which is cool. I don't know where to put it. I keep offering my employees if they want to put it in their house next to their family photos, but nobody wants to take it, so I'm not really sure what to do with it.
Surely just above their bed with you looking down would be perfect for them, right?
I don't know. But nobody's willing to take it, so and then just a screen over here with a little table for meetings I have in my office related to.
Is that where you shoot the roundups with that screen on behind you?
Yeah, so I'll basically have what's called a Mevo camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's this camera over here, and I'll basically set up the camera right about over here or so, turn on the screen, use an iPad to project what I'm using, AirPlay to project what I'm reading.
Yeah.
And I'll do it right over here. It's a pretty simple setup like that.
What's that you've got on the wall there? Is that qualifications or something like that, or?
Oh, just degrees, my diplomas and stuff.
What do you have a degree in?
I went to Baruch College at City University, where Jeff Jarvis teaches. I got a degree in business administration, more of marketing research and statistics, and then some additional degrees, which I don't really know what to do with. But they're there. They're not really straight in them. I don't really touch them, but they sit there.
Amazing. Do you mind showing us around the office and stuff? I'd love to see the environment you're in.
Sure. So that was my office over here. My brother and I actually work together. He runs all the technology in the company. His door is closed, but he has an office right there next to me. In here, I don't have to use my app to open it, but there's a whole server closet with tons of servers and stuff in this room here.
And that's a secure room that you need app entry to get into?
Yeah, let me see if I could do it from my watch.
Barry, you're so teched out. You're pretty much RoboCop at this point.
Yeah. See if it opens. Here's one of our conference rooms over here. So you walk in and then just open this server closet. So this is one of the conference rooms, and I could change the colors of the lights to any colors I want. They're smart lights, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to open. If I pause you, I could probably open it, but.
Well, we can maybe come back to it at the end.
Yeah, just a bunch of servers. This is our RustyBrick wall.
Love it.
I don't want to disturb anybody, but this is the main pit area where everybody's working.
Very cool.
Here's a pool table that nobody uses, arcade section, and so forth. Dartboard.
You got to have the double lava lamps there as well. I mean, that's key to any agency.
Yeah, and this is just our food place with funds. We just dropped off a bunch of food this morning. A lot of junk food.
Oh my god! Now we're talking. So this is why I love seeing people's offices, because our food is got everyone's bloody vegan and vegetarian, and like they're giving up, you know, sugar and alcohol, and I'm just like, guys, can we have a beer and a donut already?
Yeah, no, so there's tons of junk there. There's also some healthy stuff as well. But that's a breakdown of the office layout.
You know the name RustyBrick? I don't actually know the impetus story for that. Why is it called RustyBrick? Where did that come from?
It's just honestly just two words put together. It's based, my brother's initials is RBS, so it used to be like RustyBrick Software back in high school when he came up with the name. But we just went with RustyBrick when we incorporated the business and so forth. So it's just really two words put together that we thought worked well.
Very cool, very cool. And so it's so funny. I'm sorry you're getting phone calls and stuff like that. What's your main role at RustyBrick nowadays? Are you CEO or CTO or something like that, or what's your main thing?
My title is President and CEO. I'm pretty much involved in working with new clients, prospecting and bringing in new business for the company, building new ideas and so forth. So we have a lot of other projects that we worked on within the company, not just consulting. We do a lot of obviously billable work where we charge clients hourly for building out software projects, so business applications that are either web-based or mobile-based, app-based and so forth. We also build out our own software, so we built out a project called SchulCloud, which is a synagogue management platform. We built out an ad network system. We built out a bunch of different software that we think including apps that we think would be useful, and we make income on that end. We make income on other ends. So we do a lot of different things to bring in revenue for the business that keeps our, you saw the staff out there. There's a lot of people out there. I think there's about 25 people out there employed and working and paying their paychecks, I guess.
How does that feel?
None of them do SEO, so.
That's the best way to have it. Those SEO people, like as I like to remind everyone, SEO is in fact dead.
I heard that a few times, that SEO is dead. So
it comes up from time to time. So how did you? So you didn't start with 25 employees. So how are you getting these leads in? Are you going to events? So is going to events quite a big deal for you, or is it a kind of community thing, or how are you kind of building funnels and all that good stuff?
So it's pretty much word of mouth. Like our clients will recommend us. Like most businesses, what we sell is not easy. I can't just put a Google ad on the internet and say hire us. It's usually very large.
It's 15:30.
Projects. And most of that stuff comes from clients that recommend us to their other clients or their colleagues and so forth. So it just takes years and years. We started this in the 90s, and thankfully we have a good reputation, and we try to do good work, and we try to do right by our customers, and thus people recommend us.
So if you've been doing it, so I mean, I've only been running Type A for about 3 years, and one of the things that I'm trying to balance is clients coming in, doing a good job, and also just managing general stress levels. Is there anything in particular? You all seem quite chill, and like nothing kind of phases you, like especially when you're doing like video stuff or doing any speaking stuff. Is there some, like, how are you staying so relaxed, and what do you do to kind of wind down and stuff? Is it time with family, or do you have a secret supply of heroin somewhere, or like what's going on?
No, I mean, I get stressed like anybody else. Experience and years doing stuff obviously helps with that stress. Thankfully, financial stress I don't have to worry too much about. We do pretty well. Of course, any of that can go away at any minute, of course. But you have years and years, and thankfully, financially, I don't necessarily. I mean, the SEO stuff is really my outlet. I enjoy. It's a hobby. Some people like to exercise. Some people like to play games on their computers. Some people like to watch movies. I honestly like to write and research the SEO search world. That's a hobby for me, and I enjoy doing it. And I could do it in a way that I don't need to bring in money with it. So there's really, of course I get my flack and a bunch of trolls on the internet, and I enjoy the trolls also. I enjoy if you ever read the comments and search into Roundtable, it's kind of like YouTube comments. It's like, it's some of it's horrible, and I try to moderate out the really bad stuff that's making fun of people. But outside of that, I kind of enjoy, the trolls, and I also enjoy covering search, the latest and greatest stuff. And it's one of the things that I enjoy doing, and I'll probably keep doing until, I can see myself doing that when I retire. I'm only 38, so I'm not old. I look old, but I'm not that old. I enjoy doing it, so I don't really have necessarily an outlet. I have a lot of kids, I have family, I have a community that we're part of, and I'm very involved in. But yeah, I don't really have any de-stressors. I would say that I'm very monotone person. It is what it is, and I'm very consistent. I keep doing the same thing every day, and I keep adding more onto that. And with that, I just stay with that routine, that consistent routine.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. There's some, I guess there's some, I don't know what to say. It's less stressful when you have a routine and you stick with that, as opposed to jumping all over the place constantly and kind of everything's up in the air. Having a routine helps manage your daily schedule, and helps manage everything you need to do in a single day. And there's a lot that I do in a single day, and thankfully with that schedule, I'm able to get it all done.
So do you calendar everything in? So is it all the blocks done there, or is it roughly the morning I'm going to do this, afternoon I'm going to do this? Like, how are you blocking it out? Are you using apps to do this? Or are you using, so for us, we use Asana to plan all of the company tasks. I use Things. I've got a bunch of notepad stuff. What do you do?
So we use a bunch of different things for different purposes. So obviously Google Calendar for my own client calls and scheduling and stuff like that. I don't use that for what I'm going to write. I use something called RustyBrick. I built my own system to manage what I'm going to write about. And I use that for Search Engine Roundtable and partially for Search Engine Land. And then for RustyBrick, client work, we built our own task management system, ticket system for that, which actually is fully integrated with our PBX and our email communication. It's kind of like an Asana, but it's custom built. We built it back in the 90s, and we just keep adding to it. And it's fully integrated with our code repository or Git system, our client communication, our billing software, and it really lets our company operate in a really streamlined fashion.
One of the things I'm really getting from you is everything is really well connected, and everything's incredibly well kind of thought out. Is it too much to ask if I could see? Do you have a bunch of bookmarks on your browser, or is it a super clean browser? Is that too much to ask to see what kind of stuff you got going on there? If it's private client stuff, obviously don't. But I'm just fascinated what you're using for plugins and all that, and I just find it fascinating.
I don't know if it's easy to show it here, but here's my browser. I use Chrome mostly. I have lots of bookmarks. I don't use most of them. I have a lot of bookmarks in here as well. It's hard to see, but I don't know if you can even see them. I should bother even pointing at them. But links to bookmarklets. I use a lot of bookmarklets to tag stuff to check out later, and that both on desktop and mobile. So if I'm out at a client meeting, I could quickly use I use Feedly for my RSS feeds. I used to use Google Reader. In fact, I was the number one consumer of Google feeds using Google Reader. That they actually gave me a bunch of swag somewhere in this office here.
Wow.
But I use it, and then I'll click on something that I want to read, and if I don't have time now, I'll bookmark it for later, and figure out what to do with it. For I have analytics that we use here. Obviously, Google Analytics. I can see who's working in the company on what at any point in time, what projects they're working on. I can see our phone queue and see who's doing what on the phone queue and where people need help. So we have lots of different tools here. Google Search Console, of course. I like to look at that stuff as well. But in terms of managing the business on a day-to-day basis, it's obviously mostly it's actually we Slack as well, as you see over here on this screen. This screen is TweetDeck for managing all the tweets and so forth. And then obviously a lot of different apps and so forth on my phone that I use. But it's mostly my number one or number two tool is I use a lot of Feedly for RSS feeds. I have a lot of bookmarks for tracking the different forum discussions. And I use obviously our task management system a lot and other tools. So yeah, I don't know if that summarizes it. I mean, there's probably stuff I'm missing, but
So we should probably talk a little bit about search, seeing as you're probably one of the foremost experts in the world. Is there anything you've read recently that's kind of interesting to you, that's kind of piquing your interest? Or if you were sitting me down, let's pretend, Barney, I've paid whatever exorbitant, crazy day rate that you guys have got, and I'm in the room with you, and I'm like, right, Barry, what do I need to know as a SEO agency over the next year? Where should I be pushing my offering, and what should I be talking to my clients about? Where would you steer things? Don't tell me to shut it down and start an app development company.
No. I mean, there's lots of successful, and there's lots of great companies out there that sell SEO, and it's needed. I mean, SEO, at least, it's not. It used to be back in the day a lot of link building, and now it's more about technical SEO and content development and helping a client understand what limitations they have currently, and then how to use different benefits that they have to certain things that they're really good at to make a difference, and then to convey that difference on the web. So your customers might be really good at doing X, Y, and Z, but they're not really conveying that on their website. And the job of an SEO firm or a marketing firm is to really kind of give them ideas and implement those ideas on how to communicate why they're good at what they do. And then if you communicate that well on the internet, on their web pages, that will hopefully lead to Google wanting to rank them well for anything. So my over high urging or level of advice to any company is, you want to build something, either a website, tool, anything that's web or mobile based, in a way that is so good that if Google doesn't rank it well for the keywords that you want it to rank well for, that it embarrasses Google. It's embarrassing for Google not to rank it well. And that is obviously easier said than done. But at the same time, you want to build something that really, really is good. And that's where SEOs come in, and marketers come in to kind of convey what your clients are building and are doing, so that they have the most exposure on that as possible. And it's not just about tricking Google into saying, oh, they have the most amount of links, or they have copied this content from this site and that site. It's really about implementing a strategy where you're really showing off your core competencies in a way that is useful to your web visitors.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, one of the things that we've seen more and more is people spending a lot more on their kind of branded content stuff and kind of really pushing that in a big way. I had a great conversation with a guy called Arnout Helmans. He's a Dutch SEO, which I'm sure you might actually be aware of him. He's talking about a lot of knowledge graph stuff, and he has a theory that there's dampeners now on the value of links. So if Google doesn't have trust factors in play outside of the link graph, they're actually dampening the actual value of the links coming in. Do you have any opinions on stuff like that? Do you see any, I know that there's been quite a few schema updates and things like that. Do you have any opinions on the kind of knowledge graph and schema side of things?
So I have a lot of opinions on a lot of things. Schema is obviously incredibly important. Google keeps pushing new structured data on it, all the time. They keep telling people to implement structured data. So 100%. I mean, that's SEO 101. Use structured data, use markup. You want those Google rich results as much as possible. Do they necessarily help the knowledge panel? Probably on some level, but a lot of websites do not implement this stuff, and they still are able to pull that data and show entity-related data in the knowledge panel without any problem. So Google's doing their own job. They know the web is not going to go ahead and be something where the webmaster is just going to spoon feed them stuff in a very structured format. Google's really good at understanding the web and pulling out those entities without you kind of serving it to them on a silver platter. At the same time, SEOs are really good at giving Google the right direction by adding the structured data, by doing things with internal linking structure, by implementing very clear paths for Google to go within the website. And that's where technical SEOs are really good at. But yeah, I mean, right now the big thing is Bing announced that they are going to start encouraging SEOs and webmasters and developers to submit content to them as opposed to Bing crawling content. And Bing's like, yeah, we hope to stop crawling the web at some point in the future, and hope that webmasters will just use our Bing API to submit content, and we're going to allow them to submit 10,000 URLs per day, yada yada. And Google's kind of been quiet on that. I emailed them saying, "What's your opinion on this?" And they didn't respond. And I think they have their own indexing API, and we'll see what they announce. But one of the core strengths that Google has had is they're able to crawl the web, find new content really, really fast without the need of necessarily sitemaps or indexing APIs or ping and so forth, and PubHub, SubHub, if you remember that. They're really good at that. And with that, it's going to be interesting to see how that changes, because of course Google released their indexing API about a year or so ago. It's used really for job URLs right now, job posting URLs, and also for live stream events. But we'll see if they expand it to other places. Supposedly Wix is a partner with that. Yoast kind of hinted that they're going to do something with that, but we'll see.
I mean, the Wix partnering with them, do you not find that? Did you have a little giggle when you heard that? Like, I definitely had a little chuckle to myself when I heard that Wix were a core partner.
Yeah, Wix was so Wix, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the company too well. I know Yoast, when they announced it, they're a pretty honest company, and they didn't really say too much about it. They probably are working with indexing API behind the scenes, and probably some type of NDA, non-disclosure type of situation where they couldn't say much.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, if content management systems like Yoast, WordPress, Drupal, these major platforms could integrate with the indexing API and kind of feed the content to Bing and Google in a faster and more efficient manner, it makes sense for them to do that. And Bing is saying, yes, we want that, whereas Google hasn't really said anything about it yet. So it'll be interesting to see if Google, if they go ahead and say that, that's going to be a kind of fundamental shift in how search works. It's not going to be from crawling the web where everything starts with SEO. It's going to be about submitting content to Google, which is a different kind of way of thinking about search. Although fundamentally the same, they have the URLs and the index and so forth. But if you're feeding Google the content versus Google consuming the content themselves, a totally different thing.
Well, I suppose because they can then start dictating how they want you to feed them. So just the same way that we get webmaster guidelines on, these are the things we need you to do in order to rank well inside the kind of guidelines and search rate or quality guidelines. Surely when it comes to actually submitting the page, it just has to hit automated criteria. So it has to have these elements, it has to say this. So technically it could be even harder to get in the index, but when you are in, you've kind of pre-optimized the page before it hits the index.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how hard it's going to... Again, there's a different process. So one is Google discovering the URL, and that's simple. They just need a URL to discover and make sure they're allowed to crawl it by not seeing any obstacles in that crawl.
Yeah.
So basically, the indexing API would be like, here's a URL, Google, go ahead and try to crawl it, as opposed to Google trying to find that URL with other means. So if it's just the indexing API, then the question is, what type of requirements will it have? Is it just posting URL? Is it submitting titles or structured data? And obviously right now the indexing API is for job posting URLs, which has structured data, and it's for live stream, which has structured data. But I don't know. It's just, I could guess and say it's kind of like a sitemap file. You just really need URLs. You don't have to have last mod dates. You don't have to have all the other stuff that the sitemaps somewhat recommend. You don't need that for Google to use it. And I'm curious what Google's going to say about that. I think with Bing's API, you don't have to submit much. Also, you just have to submit the URLs as well. So I guess we'll see how that evolves.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what's next. Like my whole thing is, I remember back in the day, Aaron Wall from SEO Book, his whole thing was like doom and gloom, and Google's taking all their stuff and not rewarding us for it. He was very anti Google, I remember, and I'm kind of getting like that to a degree, because I see a lot of the commercial moves they're making, and I'm like, gosh, that is. I mean, they got to keep the shareholders happy at the end of the day, so I can't really blame them. So I appreciate it's getting on a little bit. It's pretty early in the morning for you, so you'll probably want to get cracked on with work. Have you got much on for the rest of the day? Busy one ahead?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All right. Well, short and sweet. Well, I'll leave it there, Barry. So thank you so much for coming on, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Cheers.